In the beginning of the film, we see tears in the eyes of a sorrowful girl. She lives in Alaska, where the incident actually took place. There is no sunshine for 30 consecutive days. Days turned into nights, and these were terrible times for them. However, an occurrence that happened there was etched in her mind forever. This woman was once married, but now she is a widow. This transpired on the same day that Alaska was invaded by vampires. They killed many people and caused a lot of damage. Her husband had also died during this time. She now wishes to take revenge of her husband. She will track down every vampire and murder them. She is well aware of the fact that her own life could be at stake. However, she travels to Los Angeles to inform everyone about the existence of vampires. She calls a town hall meeting and avers everyone that the person they believe to be human might not be. The person might be a vampire. After hearing her, everyone starts to laugh that they are vampires. She claims, while you all find it amusing, vampires are still present here. She also exposes the public to ultraviolet radiation. Several vampires emerges as a result of their skin starting to burn. Other people are now concerned as a result of her action. From there, people begin to flee. As she walks out of the door, the police nabs her. The agent then takes her inside the room and begins blackmailing her, that if she doesn't quit, she will spend the rest of her life in prison. As a result, her life would be ended. Stella, the girl, becomes sad to hear and she is released by the police, but with the vow to stop hunting the vampires. When she enters her hotel room, she discovers 3 people, 2 men, 1 lady. They start telling her that they know she wants to do vampire hunting. They are also vampire slayers. But the agent and the police had threatened and blackmailed her. And she says humans can hunt the vampires as they are always sprayed. But they were baffled by what Stella is speaking in this manner. When the female of the group steps outside, she notices some strange movement coming from the front room of their home. There a man jumps from there. It wasn't a normal movement. Having learned that it was a vampire, she goes inside and tells that the vampire is coming towards them. Both of them shoot the vampire when he tries to come in. When Stella discovers that it is possible to kill vampires, she joins them, and the 4 of them go hunting together. They seek help from a man in a library. As far as Stella can tell, the man also was a vampire, because he had black eyes and strange teeth. Stella aims her weapon at him, but his buddy explained that despite being vampire, he knows how to control his mind. As the result, he won't hurt us. In fact, his entire family was murdered by vampires, and vampires have attacked him to keep him under control as well. But they botched it, and now he wants his vengeance. Meanwhile, the librarian asks if they know where their energy comes from. Their queen, who lives in a factory, is the source of their power. She is in charge of them and keeps herself young by drinking blood. And if they kill the queen of the vampires, their energy will also be reduced. Now they are all plotting ways to attack the factory queen and kill her. Stella decides not to go further to risk her life and says she doesn't want to deal with the queen, so she leaves. In the meantime, her partner, who is also a hunter, turns up. He tells, the vampire had killed my daughter as well. We must kill them and none of us will surrender to the fate. And Stella agrees to join them again. On the other hand, we can see the agent, who is indeed a human, but he delivers message to the vampires in the area. He is a spy for them. He informs them that he had warned Stella and she probably left the city by then. In the meantime, the queen avers, I can smell her blood, she is still here. Because he is a human, he can tell whether Stella is still here or gone since he can smell her blood, or if she had changed her mind. The vampires had beaten him up a lot that he lied to the vampires. On the other hand, we have the 4 vampires hunters as partners. They devise a strategy for gaining access to the factory, and then the day arrives for them to execute the task. The vampires smell them and attack them. Stella and her companions have saved their lives, but their other companion is unable to save himself and the vampires bite him. He will soon turn into a vampire, but Stella and her partner take him to a room. Stella and her friend check to see whether he has been bitten by vampires, and he will be a vampire in no time. They tried to mitigate the impact of the bite, but it was impossible. They learn that he will turn into a vampire and kill the rest of the crew. Stella proposes that he is to be killed or else it can be a threat to their lives. His partner disagrees because he was his friend and he didn't want to kill him. Stella, after taking a large stone, smashes his head and ends him. They later sit sadly and they hear a noise. Stella's companion notices the same librarian has arrived after opening the gate slider. He informs to them that due to the darkness, all the vampires have gone on the hunt. Also added to come with him and not forget to bring the weapons and guns. They stumble upon a vampire and fire their guns at him after proceeding. But instead of killing him, they confine him in a room. Later, they begin to interrogate the whereabouts of the queen. He claims he has no idea where she is. After turning on the ultraviolet rays, they begin to burn his skin. He screams but doesn't alter his statement. Being unable to endure the torture, he tells that a similar invasion strategy is being plotted like the previous time in Alaska, in which they all will perish. Stella and her fellows decide not to kill him, otherwise they won't know where they are going next. They let him go, as he was hurt, now walks with a limp. He arrives at the site where the other vampires were planning to attack. They chase him and arrive at the vampire's secret location. They come to see a young couple who are bound together and a girl who is still alive. Vampires arrive before Stella and her friends were ready to save her. They were shooting at each other and it was about to be morning and they begin to attack them. Stella and her companions begin to fire the roof, allowing sunlight to enter the room. Stella later destructs the room's wall with the help of a bomb. As the result, the sun begins to shine through, burning their skin and then kills them all. After rescuing the girl, they bring her with them. Their agent, on the other hand, is requesting the queen that he knows he is gonna die, so please turn him into a vampire as he is debilitated. He becomes a vampire after drinking the queen's blood. Stella and the crew begin to ask the rescued girl where the vampires kidnapped her from. She tells her friends that she got taken from a yacht. They are also drinking the blood of a large number of people. Meanwhile, the door knocks and the librarian looks through the spy hole. And there was the agent who had turned into a full-fledged vampire. He goes inside after shooting him. They were escaping in the car when the agent begins firing at them. They also fire at the agent before arriving at the location that girl has informed them. There are vampires on the yacht. They are taking people's blood after they have been slain. Stella advises the girl to return from there. As she walks in, she notices a vampire who has been affected by the sun rays. Blood is pouring down on him and he becomes alive. Stella realizes that simply burning them with sunlight is insufficient. It's more necessary to decapitate them as well. Stella's female companion seems frightened in this scene. She asks if they can abort the mission and return as the situation was complicated. Stella claims that as they have taken the venture, they must complete it. Also stated, if the ship loaded with vampires sails into Nether City, there would be an intense havoc. They see everyone from a child to an old man in the yacht dead, and the vampires reserving their blood after finishing them. As they continue forward, they notice a man in the cabin with his back to them. When he turns back, he aims her gun at him. They observe that his eyes weren't black and his teeth were also normal. It indicates that he wasn't a vampire whose family was killed. He is forced to agree with vampires and requests to join them. Moments later, the vampires kill him and Stella's female companion by shooting them. They took the woman who was terrified and shot her. Stella and her partners were left behind and they were pretty depressed. They make the decision that no vampires will be left alive. Meanwhile, the agent arrives there and ties both of them. In addition, he slashes his arm and places a container below it. When it fills up with blood, he will die. Stella, on the other hand, after freeing up one hand, releases her and then her friends. She slays the agent brutally later because she knows how to do it. They then proceed to the yacht's control room, and then she starts destroying everything so that the light goes out and to stop the motion of the ship. The vampires are perplexed about where they should go. Later, the vampire's queen arrives. Stella's final companion is also killed relentlessly by the queen. Stella starts running and hides behind a blood-soaked container that was placed there. When the queen comes for her, she is unable to locate Stella. Stella appears from behind and beheads the queen in the meantime. All other vampires also gather and see their queen dead and take a deep breath. Now no one will be able to comment them and they are free to live their lives as they like. And they are becoming increasingly afraid of Stella. That if a girl can kill the queen, can easily kill the rest of them. They have moved to the side now, allowing Stella to pass. Stella has now returned to her hometown of Alaska. The vampires are apprehended by the police and the peace in the area is reinstated. Stella had an idea why not decanting the blood on him to revivify, as the vampires have killed him and he might have died being a vampire. She digs his grave and transports his remains to her room that has gone rotten. She begins to pour blood in his mouth after making a cut on his arm. She also faints due to the profuse amount of blood loss. She beholds her husband in front of her when she wakes up. She smiles and embraces him. Later we see from back scene that he is still a vampire, and now he requires blood to slake thirst. He bites his wife Stella, turning her into a vampire. And here the film ends. Well, that's all for today. Thank you.